Morning. It's a cold day today. It is freezing out, but it's not snowing. It's not raining. I have two things on my agenda today looking at the weather. I need to get the snow tires on this vehicle because winter is coming. And I have another roof repair I need to do. This one's on the high school, and it's an older one, but it's another roof penetration where I have a couple cables going through. So those are the two things I want to get done today. Let's head up on the roof. Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance. It's windy and cold up here. We're kind of hovering right around the freezing point and the sun is out, so I should be able to stay ahead of the chill. What I'm working on is right here. I've got two heaters right here, one there, and they both have cable penetrations through the roof, and they both leak. You can see how over the years, multiple layers of sealant have been put down here to stop the water from going in. But at the end of the day, this was the wrong installation, wrong application for this type of a boot. That type of a boot works fine when it's a single entry point and you can clamp securely around it and seal that, and then that's good. That's not going to leak. But you need to do something different here. Because it's cold, what I am currently doing is getting some power up here so I can have a heat gun with me and put heat to the areas that I need to secure, because I want this to work. And we're kind of right on the cusp of the temperature of the product that I'm using being able to cure properly. So fortunately, my 100-foot cord should just make it. Okay, so I have power on the roof. The product that I'm using is slightly different than what I used before. Same principle, but slightly different application. This is a one-part pourable penetration sealant. Comes in half-gallon bags. And what I like about this is this one I can use what I need and then close the bag back up. The curbs themselves aren't rubber. They're a plastic curb. And what I like about them is they've made them to come apart. Where the other one I had to cut it. But this one also doesn't have a peel back seal on it. I have to seal it down with this adhesive here. And it says it's a universal adhesive and sealant, but what's different about it is that it reacts to moisture and cures based on its reaction to moisture. It doesn't contain mineral spirits, which most other sealing products do. Preparation is key in anything like this. And so that is where I have to go now and start removing all the old sealant that's around those penetration points. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this product right there so it doesn't get cold. I want to use it at room temperature, basically. So I'm just in the preparation phase right now, and I'll take you back upstairs when I'm there. First things first, I have to try and remove all this old sealant. Being careful not to actually cut into the jacket of the cables themselves. Although the jacket is, there's aluminum underneath here. So it is armored cable, but at the same time I don't want to compromise the sheathing of this, because then water can get into there too, and then I've kind of defeated the purpose. Yeah, I've cut away all the sealant, removed the hose clamp, and let me show you why this method of sealing multiple penetration cables going through a roof will never work. See, that boot is going around both cables, right? And you'll never seal this gap in between here well enough to prevent water from getting in. Especially if you have snow like we do here. We'll get, might get a foot or two of snow here, So that's piled up higher than here, and then as that starts to melt, you've got heavy wetness just resting against this area right here, and it eventually makes its way through. And once you have a pathway, well, then it just becomes easier every time for water to go through. So that's why we're fixing it. So this is what we got. 2 cables penetrating the roof membrane here. And that goes right down into the classroom. The drama room below me here. And yeah, when they're doing productions and whatnot, they can't have dripping from the ceiling or a bucket in the middle of the floor. That just wouldn't work. So I will clean this area up and start prepping it for our proper seal. One got a bucket of hot soapy water to just clean up the worst of the dirt here. Wouldn't you know, our bucket has a hole in it. Like everything else. It leaks around here. That's no good. I just want to get the worst of it before I then prep it with acetone. And I'm trying not to dump any water into the classroom below because there's people in there. That should be pretty good. And while I'm at it, let's go clean this other one here as well. And yeah, never mind our friend there. I can be a little more liberal with this one because I haven't cut the boot off of here yet. So by the time I get to this, it'll either be dry or frozen. And seeing as this bucket is cracked, I have no more use for it. So I'll say goodbye to it. Alright, donating it to the garbage bin. Okay, now that I've got the boots cut off of here, so what I'm going to do now is prep it by wiping everything down with acetone. And that will ensure that the adhesive that I use at the base of the curb, as well as the sealant itself, will adhere to the original membrane and to the cables. I need to clean them off as well. Okay, I'm just going to go do the other one, and then we'll work on putting on the curbing and getting it ready to pour. I mentioned it earlier downstairs, but this is the product that I'm using. Now here's my curb, here's my 1-part sealant, and if I can get through the other stuff in the bag and not lose it all, because I need it, here's my sealant. The company that makes this product is called CHEMLINK, and I will put a link in the description below of what it is and where you can get it if you're in the Lower Mainland here. They have a North American website, so I'm sure you can get it all over the place. But the difference between this and, say, a polyurethane sealant is this is a polyether based sealant, which is why you can't use it with mineral spirits. That is why I used acetone to clean this area. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my heat gun and just warm up the area enough. Like I said, it's 2 degrees, so it's above freezing, so everything will cure. But I'd like to warm things up a little bit anyway, just to be on the safe side. I want to get a good cure. I want to get a really positive adhesion to the surface here, to the cabling. I'm going to put a little heat to it and warm it up first. You want these cables to be about 1 inch apart. In that way, that puck that we're making has lots of room to flow in between the 2 cable penetrations. You don't want them like close together, or especially touching. And so in order to do that, these ones wanted to naturally go together. So what I've done is I just took an old piece of the sealant that I cut away from the outside of the cabling, and I wedged it down in between here, and that will hold the cables apart while I pour my my sealant puck. Make sense? So my curbing is down. The polyether sealant has squeezed out underneath there nicely, so I know I am making a solid connection to the roof membrane. And I've sealed up the hole down here to prevent the liquid sealant from pouring down into the classroom. So that should do the trick. I am ready to pour. I've read everything on the bag here a number of times, and it just says the bonding surfaces should be clean, dry, and free from all contamination that may inhibit the sealant's performance. Check. Here I'm just filling up the curbing. The sealant is flowing out where it needs to go. It's flowing in between the 2 cable penetrations that are going through the deck, and it will cure into a nice rubberized puck that will not leak water. Okay, that's complete. That just has to cure now. I'll go grab the rest of the product, my other curb, and go hit that other one now. But you don't need to watch that. You've now seen it on this one here. So this one is done. And finally, the last thing I want to point out is that when you pour this, you want to make sure you fill it up enough so that it just kind of mushrooms over the top. Kind of like a muffin top. In that way it's slightly domed and water will run off. You won't get any standing water on top of it. And so I'll say goodbye. Thanks for watching. While I'm up here on the roof, I just can't resist doing this tiny little Eternabond repair for James. You know who you are. You don't normally have to do this, warm it up, but it's so cold out here. There you go, Eternabond, fixed for all eternity.